first dose.
I actually participated in one of the trials, so I definitely would do it. There's no question about it at all.
The new COVID vaccine will soon be in Cleveland. Andrew Horansky explains how nursing homes will play a major role in solving the crisis. Dire projection. COVID-19 tops heart disease as the #1 killer in the U.S. this week. The staggering results of a new study. 'Tis the season.
Everyone's had a tough year, and I feel like everyone needs happiness.
Where they're giving to others and brightening the holidays. And tough test. 2 potent rushing attacks go head-to-head. A preview of the Browns-Titans AFC showdown.
From the WKYC studios, this is What's Next.
Good evening, and thank you so much for being up with us tonight. I'm Andrew Horansky.
And I'm Lena Lai. We begin tonight with a second straight day above 10,000 new coronavirus cases in Ohio. The state reporting 10,469 new infections. That is the 4th highest daily case number that the state has seen since the beginning of the pandemic. And thousands of other tests are still pending review. Also, 64 new deaths reported today and 286 new hospitalizations. Meanwhile, the U.S. has hit a new daily high of nearly 228,000 cases on Friday. The latest report from the University of Washington finds that COVID-19 was the leading cause of death this week. Close to 280,000 Americans have died since the beginning of the pandemic, and the latest model projects the death toll to pass 530,000 by March. And faced with a serious shortage of hospital beds, California health officials announced today parts of Southern California will be placed under a sweeping new lockdown. It's intended to slow the rapid rise of COVID cases.
Until we get through this wave, you should not meet in person with anyone you do not live with, even in a small group and even outdoors with precautions.
The lockdown will take effect tomorrow night and will remain in place for at least 3 weeks.
And Lena, back here at home, Ohio will begin distributing hundreds of thousands of vaccines around December 15th. Among the first to receive them, residents of nursing homes as well as their caretakers, a move that is designed to both keep them safe and open. Tonight, the most vulnerable Ohioans are a step closer to receiving a COVID vaccine after Governor Mike DeWine formally announced that the residents and workers of nursing homes should be first in line, a move applauded today by healthcare advocates.
We're incredibly grateful to the governor for taking leadership on this and going in what we think is the right direction.
The weight of the crisis has been especially heavy on nursing homes, where the cost of PPE, COVID testing, and staffing caused expenses to skyrocket, leaving many operators now desperate for loan forgiveness and stimulus.
They didn't really know what they were doing to combat this because it had never happened before.
A sector at the center of the COVID crisis from the start. According to an NBC News analysis of federal data, more than 1,300 nursing homes across the country reported having 3 or more COVID cases earlier this month. And roughly 40% of the nation's COVID deaths have been in nursing homes. Vivian Zayas started an advocacy group called Voices for Seniors and believes treatment must change.
But the reality is that we cannot continue a treatment of isolation.
While experts have a range of concerns, including possible side effects from the vaccine, and that many nursing home residents will not be able to travel to a hospital or outpatient clinic. Dr. Ellie Sideh, an infection control specialist at University Hospitals, took part in a clinical trial and insists the drug is safe.
I would give it to my mom. I would give it to my grandparents. I would give it to my loved ones. I would take it myself.
Tonight, major pharmacy chains such as Walgreens are preparing to bring the vaccine to nursing homes, either by setting up a central location within a facility or else going room to room to keep seniors rooted and safe in their golden years' dark times. And nursing homes are also the highest priority in Great Britain, where seniors should begin receiving the vaccine as soon as this week. While in France, hug bubbles are being used to help seniors battle loneliness in nursing homes. The bubbles are inflatable tunnels with 2 plastic sleeves, which help to protect residents who've been isolated from the outside world, allowing them to hold hands and hug their loved ones.
President Trump was in Georgia tonight for his first political rally since losing the election. Accompanied by First Lady Melania Trump, the president was speaking at a rally meant to boost Republican incumbents campaigning in 2 Georgia runoffs that will decide which party controls the Senate. However, the president still seemed fixated on his defeat in November.
I got more votes than any sitting president in history, 11 million more votes than we got in 2016. And we thought that if we could get 68 million, 67 million, that would be the end. All of our great, brilliant geniuses said you'd win. If you get 67 or 68, it's over. We got 74 million plus, and they're trying to convince us that we lost. We didn't lose.
The president admitted that he didn't want to hold the rally tonight, but said he traveled to Georgia to help the 2 Republicans win what are probably the most important Senate runoffs in U.S. history. Meanwhile, President-elect Joe Biden walked into his church today in Delaware with a slight limp, almost 1 week after he fractured his ankle. Biden is expected to be holding more meetings with his new economic team next week as they come up with a new way to help the country out of the financial hole because of the pandemic.
And in Akron, an iconic sign disappeared. It went down, but don't worry, this is only temporary. This morning, that Firestone sign above the old Firestone plant, one building came down. Bridgestone is refurbishing the sign, replacing the light bulbs and making the sign structure stronger. The project will take months, and a new location for the sign should be announced soon.
Just ahead tonight at 11, Vaccine Timeline, how a new online tool could better predict when you'll be able to get a coronavirus vaccine. Hey, Carrie.
Hey, Lena. Well, it was a cloudy, cool, somewhat snowy day across Northeast Ohio. The question is, how long is this weather going to last, and what about the rest of the weekend? I've got the forecast.
What's Next is sponsored by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
When that new vaccine comes out for COVID-19, you'll likely have to wait.
Yeah, and how long will that be? Well, earlier this week, the New York Times gave us a glimpse. It is among the easiest questionnaires you'll ever take. Just go to the New York Times website, enter your age, county, profession, and COVID risk profile, and see just how many people could get the vaccine ahead of you.
For the first period of time, there's probably going to be quite a shortage.
Stuart Thompson crafted the piece and stressed the final order of who gets the vaccine has yet to be known. But still, this gives an idea.
There's a bit of you kind of recognize your place a little bit and kind of understand the scope of the number of people who are really at risk if you are later in line.
And we could not resist testing it on those we know. In Ohio, for example, I'd be 10 millionth in line. Brent Heiner, a teacher in Worcester.
In Ohio, I am at 5.3 million.
While my 96-year-old grandmother in North Olmsted is at 4.8 million.
Honey, they probably don't want to waste the vaccine on the old lady.
Maybe it's because so many teachers are remote that we're not in front of students a lot of the time. So maybe that's one reason.
And who's at the top? Turns out my wife, a pediatrician. Dr. Rebecca Weintraub of Ariadne Labs worked with the Sergo Foundation to build the tool.
Health workers and critical risk workers actually move up to the front of the line because they're not only at risk of being infected, they're also at risk of transmitting.
And location matters too.
So if you're in a state with a lot of healthcare workers, you may be further down the line than if you're in a state with fewer healthcare workers.
Good news, perhaps, depending on who you are and where you live. Gotta love grandma. Well, now, if you're like me and you tried entering your kids' ages, you may not want to do that just yet. That is because clinical trials are still underway in children, and a vaccine for them will not be available in this first wave.
Drew, I love your family. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Coming up next, Together for a Great Cause, how some local generosity will help to make sure many children will have toys this Christmas. Claus made a stop in Ohio City today for a special Stuff the Truck event. Dozens of people showed up to safely drop off toys for local children who are less fortunate. The Skylight Foundation teamed up with the Cleveland Police Foundation to make it a success. We even met one girl who for the past 3 years has saved up her money to help with the donations.
Because of COVID, not a lot of kids get to see their friends and they have to stay in the house, and people are losing their jobs, and so their parents can't afford to buy them presents. So we brought presents so they can have presents for Christmas.
Avery said she saved all of her birthday money just for today. The Stuff the Truck event is one of the biggest toy drives in Cleveland and brought in about 500 toys and thousands of dollars for local families.
That is amazing. Good for Avery. Well, this is always a sign of Christmas that it's near. This week, the NORAD Santa tracking website launched, and this means, of course, that Christmas is just around the corner. This marks the 65th year that children can track St. Nick around the globe. You see it there on your screen, but due to COVID restrictions, things this year are running a little bit differently than what we have seen in years past. Only a few volunteers will be working at a time on the phone lines, but NORAD says callers who can't get through will receive a recorded update on Santa's current location.
Well, are you looking for something bright and cheery to do with the family? Stan Hewitt Hall and Gardens in Akron might do the trick. Its annual Deck the Hall holiday display is in full swing, but this year they've added some safety precautions like masks and limited capacity. And how about this? There are 30 acres of holiday goodness to enjoy. So if you prefer to stay outdoors, just grab some hot cocoa, stroll around to see more than 1 million lights that are shining brightly on the grounds. And wow, we could use some brightening up for these chilly gray days, right, Drew?
It's crazy. Just a week ago, we were waiting on a snowstorm. Carrie, how's it looking this weekend?
Well, we don't have that big snowstorm to talk about. It's not coming anytime soon like we were talking about this time last week. We will still see some clear skies, not for the next few days. We're going to have gray skies. We're going to see a few snow flurries and showers. This is going to be with us for the next few days, and then eventually, as we get into the new week, we're going to see some sunshine and a little bit warmer temperature. Today, pretty close to average, 40 for a high temperature, 33 was our low. Typically, we see 42 and about 30. Over the next few hours, we're going to see the temperatures really holding there at about the freezing mark, eventually dipping down into the upper 20s for most folks. You can see right now pretty much all 30s within a couple of degrees across northeast Ohio, and those winds still coming out of the northwest, coming off the lake, down across the lake from the north, and then it shifts a little bit with that friction there over land, a little bit to the left there or to the northwest or out of the northwest. And you can see that there's not a lot showing up on radar. We have very dry air moving across the lakes, and that's why you're not going to see a lot of snow. You might see a couple of snow showers tonight, tomorrow through Monday, but you're not going to see much in the way of accumulation. You can see this nor'easter steaming up along the east coast there. That's certainly bringing those folks in New England a lot of snow, but our air is very dry. We're going to see clouds. It's going to be cool for the next few days on that northerly flow. Not much change in our weather as we go through Sunday and Monday. You can see cool weather through most of the eastern half of the United States. Your hour-by-hour forecast by National Design Mart. Very much what you saw today, maybe a little bit cooler tomorrow in terms of temperature. A lot of clouds, a few snow showers around here and there. Not much in the way of any accumulation, though. And as we take a look at what the potential snowfall would be for at least through the next 24 hours, you can see very little, only tenths of an inch or so around. And as we move through Monday, not much more. So a few snow showers around, maybe a dusting over tonight. 29 for a low temperature, northwesterly winds at 10 miles an hour. And then tomorrow, very much like today, a lot of clouds. It's going to be kind of chilly, 34 for a high temperature, maybe not quite as warm as what you saw today. Winds out of the northwest at 10 miles an hour. And your Ken Ganley Kia 10-day outlook showing you Sunday, Monday, about the same. Still cool on Tuesday. Then Wednesday, some sun comes out. We talk about 42 for a high temperature, mid-40s for Thursday and Friday. And then we could see a few flurries early on Saturday, changing to rain. That rain changing over to snow for Sunday. Now that's next weekend. And then we could see some really chilly air come on in here here for Monday and Tuesday, and some lake effect snow. So way out, more than a week from now, we're talking about some substantial snow, but at least through the next week, no, it's going to be okay. Lena?
Oh, well, you know what? My kids are enjoying the snow so far. So you know what? They're just fine if it just sticks around. Thanks so much, Carrie.
Okay.
Stick around. Nick is up next with sports. We'll be right back.
This sports report is sponsored by the people-pleasing people at Serra Auto Park in Akron.
Welcoming you back. Hope you're enjoying the weekend. I got to tell you, I think there's some Browns fans here in Northeast Ohio that are going to have a hard time sleeping tonight. There's just so much excitement surrounding tomorrow's showdown between the Browns and the Titans. And you know what? There should be. I mean, it's a game that's loaded with playoff implications. Both teams are 8-3 on the season. The Browns sitting in the top wild card spot in the AFC. The Titans trying to win their division. I think a lot of people feel like this is the biggest matchup on the Sunday NFL slate for tomorrow, and you know Baker Mayfield is raring to go.
I know everybody's going to want to say it's all about these running backs. The three of them, they're extremely special. Do not get me wrong. But this is a great game, great teams that it's going to be all three faces against each other. We're going to have to play complementary football and play as a team to win this game.
You heard Baker mention those running backs. Think about Nick Chubb for the Browns, right? Derrick Henry for the Titans. You've got two of the premier backs in the league ready to go at it, and Chubb admitted the two of them, yeah, they're pretty similar backs too.
Yeah, I would say we're, for the most part, just hard runners. We don't really do a lot of dancing. It's kind of north and south guys, and I think that's why we have, the missed tackles stats that we have.
Now, yes, I think we need to be a little bit careful, though. We've put so much focus on Derrick Henry and that Titans ground attack. Ryan Tannehill and his receivers, they can make you pay through the air, too. And Browns defensive coordinator Joe Woods, he explains just how they're going to try and do that.
Right now, they're running the ball very well. They're running at a high level. And when you're worried about stopping the run, you create bigger windows and you create matchups. And just based on their style of offense, he's doing a great job making the plays that he needs to make when they do decide to throw it.
I cannot wait for that football game tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be unbelievable. All right, speaking of football, Ohio State, I think all of us were just happy that they were able to play today in East Lansing. They had a tough couple of weeks with COVID-19. 23 players missing today, including 3 starting offensive linemen. Just families at East Lansing today for this game against Michigan State. And I think Ohio State would have played this game anywhere. Let's check it out. In the first quarter, Justin Fields on 3rd and goal. He gets in there. It's 7-0 Buckeyes. Still first quarter. This time Fields says, you know what? I'm going to show off my arm a little bit. A 28-yard touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson, and Ohio State goes up 14-0. Second half, and this is really when you can kiss the Spartans goodbye. Trey Sermon, yeah, he's on a house call here, all the way to the end zone. Even gets a block from his quarterback here downfield. 35-0 Ohio State at that point. They win 52-12. The Buckeyes, they are a resilient bunch.
It was tough at first, but, we all just had to step up, and we all had each other. So, the guys being out, those guys, I feel for them. I love those guys. I die for them. So I think the team responded well.
And Lena, hey, congratulations to head coach Tom Arth and the Akron Zips. Picked up their first win since 2018. A big win over Bowling Green, 31-3. And oh yeah, they were having some fun there. You see them celebrating on the field down there.
That's awesome to see. Congrats to them. Hey, thanks, Nick. You sleep well. The Browns are going to win tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Thanks for watching.